Good morning, fellow fidgeteers. I know I said I wasn't going to do any more Fidget Cube videos for a while, but I've been watching the comment section over on the Kickstarter comments, and I've seen a lot of comparisons between an official fidget, which we've all seen by now, and a unofficial copied fidget. My issue with this is that there are, I think, 5 different makers of Fidget Cube out there. So the comparisons of one versus one of the others isn't necessarily true for everyone. So what I've done is I've bought out the three biggest sellers of the Fake Fidgets this morning, and we're going to do a very, very fast side by side with the official cube, purely on features, feel, and quality. We'll also do a quick look at the packaging, but I don't want to get hung up on that first. So, we'll start with the official Antsy Labs cube. It comes in a really nice plastic case. It's got their logo and everything on it. Unfortunately, a lot of people have found that the clear plastic casing gets damaged in transit when the cube comes away from its stand, which is a shame because it's really nice packaging that you could display, but with the cracks and whatnot in it, it's not so good. Good news is you can take the clear lid away. You're left with your fidget cube. If you then remove your fidget cube, pull out this bit of card which has got all the features on it. Underneath you'll find your Antsy Labs cotton bag, which is really nice quality. It's lovely soft cotton feel as opposed to velvety bags like that one there. So that's really nice. And then you're left with the plastic base and the internal stand. Now, a cool thing is you can pull this internal stand, it comes away, you can then get rid of this bit, and you get left with, on the dots yet, you put your 5 dots into the holes, which isn't so easy with one hand. There we go. And you got yourself a nice little stand to display your cube on. So that's another option for you for that. And a quick look at the packaging and how that all comes for everyone. So that's the official cube. So here's the next one. This is the high quality unofficial fidget. These come in very, very strong cardboard boxes. The lid of them slides off like that, and inside you'll find your cube. This is the dice colour scheme, white and black. As you can see, it's all there. Inside it comes with a nice padded foam bumper that the cube sits in very nicely. You need to put the toggle switch onto the side, and then it slides in nicely. Underneath, depending on which buyer you come from, sometimes you get a velvet bag under there, sometimes you get a little instruction booklet which is always in Chinese with weird markings for the different features, but there is a little bit of storage space under there for manufacturers to chuck what they want. The packaging across all the Chinese cubes is the same. It's generic packaging. The only difference is the quality of what they've put the design on. So on the high quality cube, it actually comes in a really nice high quality box. I mean, it's all embossed and everything. It's got all the features on the side. it's, you know, it's a really nice sort of sturdy box. You can barely bend it, so it's nice and strong, and nice safe place to keep your fidget cube. So that's that one. Again, we'll pop the cube at the back. The reason I've picked different colours is just to differentiate between the cubes this morning. Next up is probably the biggest seller throughout Amazon, eBay and everywhere else. These come in flip top boxes. Let me grab you another one. This is what they look like closed, so they're a little flip top box like that. You flip the lid and you're left with a clear plastic cover that slides off. So you can see it's very flimsy, but luckily the white plastic inner is actually very strong. So although it may seem like a flimsy box, it is actually quite protective, funnily enough. Put the cube. This one I picked deliberately because of its colour, and I wanted to put this and look at it next to the official one in a bit. So there's your cube. Inside your box there's nothing else. Occasionally I've found that underneath that white plastic inner is an instruction book. Once I found actually quite a good one under the white plastic, which had colour pictures. It was all in English, although it was bad English, it had obviously been translated. But yeah, so you know, it's not great packaging. It's retail packaging. It's not designed for long-term use, but it is sturdy enough to survive postage and whatnot. As you can see, there's no embossing on the logo. It's all fairly dull. Like I say, it's a retail packaging, designed to, you know, keep your cube safe until it gets to the shop or gets to your house. So we'll put that one back there. Now these are the top 3 sellers. There is another low quality fake out there, but I've basically disregarded it this morning because it's so appalling. And if you get a fake fidget, and let's take this one for example, it has a joystick with a very long stalk. This one's not too bad, but some are so bad that as you move the stalk, what it's actually doing is not moving anything inside. It's just bending the rubber stalk. It's insane. This one, as you can see, isn't brilliant. All the buttons click when you should have 2 silent ones. But the benefit of this one is it's about $4 to buy online. The one I've missed out is about the same price, but it is far lower quality, and most of the ones I've received have had fairly significant faults. Finally, these are picking up sale amounts so quickly. This is the midget fidget. Now this is about 2/3, maybe a little bit less, the size of the official fidget cube. There you go, a little side-by-side shot there. Now when I started buying these, I was buying them from China for $2 or $3, and I could buy them on Amazon from UK sellers for about £4 UK, which is about $5, $5.50, something like that. The last couple of weeks, these prices have been shooting up to a point now where from the same seller as I bought these, and I've got quite a few of these in different colours, they're now up to £9 UK, which is about $12-13 US. So I think all the positive response to these, and if you look at eBay, eBay and Amazon feedback on these cubes, it's very high, and people do like them. So I think as they're selling more and more and more, the prices are going up higher and higher. So I've put that one in as that is, as you know, a favourite of mine. Again, we'll do the packaging, which is a little bit strange. It comes inside a velvety bag. Now, this isn't a low quality one like some of the others. It's got toggle drawstrings on both sides, so when you pull them both tight, it clenches up into the middle and you get a nice rounded sack size. It also comes, rather strangely, with a flat pack of the box that you can bend all the pieces and put it into into the box size. Now the reason for this is because they're coming from Amazon, and when you buy from Amazon, of course, it comes in flat packaging. So I think what they've done is basically not put the boxes together to make it easier and cheaper to ship them via the Amazon service, which comes in the lower profile cardboard packages. So you get a flat pack box, you get a little velvety bag, so that's all pretty cool. And it also comes with a lanyard. There you go, it's got a little attachment point, and I didn't pay a lot for mine, but the prices are going up, and they don't seem to be stopping. It seems to be a daily thing. I look on Amazon and they've gone up a little bit higher. So features, let's I'm going to follow someone else's who's posted on the Fidget Cube comment section. Now we've just done packaging, so that's done. Next one is the worry stone. Now this isn't a feature that I really care about, and I don't think a lot of people do. They are slightly different on each cube. The official one, it's sunk quite nicely and it's got a nice curved bowl to it. The high quality fakes are sunk quite deeply but got a much more deep sort of flat drop down to them, so a slightly different feel from them. The cheap fakes, they barely sink at all, but they are there if you feel around. And then the midget fidget has got quite a cool one. It sinks quite deeply. It's got quite a nice hard edge to it, which is quite cool. But it's very small, but it's still quite satisfying running your finger over that one. So that's fine. So worry stone wise, I would say probably the official one is best if you care about that. I don't really care about that. Personally, if I was designing one of these, I would put another feature on that side, maybe another type of clicky button or something, as opposed to something inanimate like the worry stone. Next up, the gears, which is the what's the official name? Let me grab my thing. There we go. So this is the roll feature. On the front, it's kind of the iconic view of the Fidget Cube. On the Antsy Cube, the dials all turn nicely, they're nice and smooth, and they've got a nice little click each time you move one piece. You can see they're separated slightly. Also on the front you got a black ball bearing, which is cool. That spins really well, and it also clicks in very well. So that's the official one. On the high quality unofficial one, your front. Now this has got similar wheels on the front, but these ones don't actually click. These ones do just spin freely, and personally I prefer that. I quite like the fact that they spin and you can, you know, just spin about, don't make any noise. It's really quite cool. The ball bearing silver. It also depresses and clicks, and obviously spins really well too. Cheapy. This one slightly less high quality gearing on it, but it does click as you move it around. However, moving this around is a bit of an effort. Moving the dials, you do really need to turn them quite hard, but they do click, and if you're into that thing you can kind of click away if you want to, but they are quite loud compared to the official cube, and obviously the unofficial one, which doesn't make any noise at all. The ball bearing spins freely, but it doesn't depress at all. So that's the lower quality copy. Finally, we've got the midget fidget. As you can see, the design on these is slightly different. It's curved at the top and then slightly angular corners at the bottom. Again, the gears spin freely, which on the midget fidget I actually really like. It's actually, you know, if it's in my pocket, I actually quite like spinning these quite a lot. The silver ball bearing doesn't depress, but it does spin very nicely again. So that's the midget fidget. Next up is a joystick. Now, I'll demonstrate the others, but to be frank, the Antsy official cube really wins by default, because it's got a nice flat movement. As you move it, it doesn't actually change angularly. It just moves flatly across the surface of the cube. Now this cube's got a little tiny fault with the glide and also with the spin wheel, but in conversation with Mark at Antsy Labs to try and resolve this. But apart from I think, which is an isolated issue, it moves around and it stays flat, and that's very cool when you can move around the edges and whatnot. So really that is very cool. On the unofficial high quality Fate, as you can see, it's got a tiny stem on it. Now this does move in a very similar way, but it does change its angle as you move it left or right, so it is on a ball rather than a system that the flat one is on. It moves really nicely. It's spring loaded. It's also got a magnet in the middle to return to center, but it does move around very nicely, and I actually quite like that. I prefer the Antsy one, which moves flat, but I also like this one as well, just because it's got such a wide area of movement. It's actually got a wider area than the official cube, and it's got a nice springy bounce back. It doesn't depress, and also the Antsy cube obviously doesn't depress because it's flat against the casing, but it does move around super easily, and it's got a lovely return to the center. So that's the high quality. We then go to our low quality. As you can see, it doesn't sit quite straight, which isn't a great start. It does depress, and a lot of people have said they really like this feature. But the joystick is like a switch. You can kind of, when you're using it, you can kind of push it down, and it's kind of like an extra feature. I'm inclined to agree with that. I actually quite like that as well. But on this particular cube, the joystick, it does move, and it is on a ball. Whereas the very cheap ones just bend. It does move around. It's not got a great area of movement, but it does work. And like I say, for $4, who cares? It's it is what it is. So I'll put that back. Finally, the midget fidget. Again, the joystick depresses on these. It's difficult with this colour. There we go. You can see in there it's got a nice wide hole for the stick to move. You can depress it like a switch. It's got a fair area of movement. It works around nicely, and when you hold it in your hand, it moves nicely. There's no resistance, and again, it's got a nice return to centre, which is the spring-loaded one as opposed to magnets. So that's joystick. Next up is the spin wheel. Antsy Labs were very quiet about this. As you can see, the spin wheel has their logo and their name written on it. They kept very quiet about the design of this until just before it was released, and the reason for that is the fact that as you turn it, hopefully you can hear that, it clicks. There's a little gearing in there, and so every couple of degrees you get a little click, which is quite cool. Now again, this, as I said, this one's got a slight issue, which I'm trying to resolve with Mark and Matt, but if we just stick to this side for a minute, it does move around nicely. It's got a nice little knob on it that you can grip into, and where it's where it is free, it does move around very nicely, and I'm not sure if I like clicking or not, but it is quite a cool feature. It also gives you a tactile feedback to your finger as well, which is good. Moving on to the higher quality spin wheel. I've seen this a million times on my videos. It's extremely well set, and because it's on 2 ball bearings and a shaft, it spins very easily, and you can really just move that around, barely touching it. You can move that around, and it's quite satisfying. So that's it's a very good spin. So depending on on what you on your preference, whether you like the clicky noisy one or the silent one, both of those options are very good. On the lower quality one, the the spin wheel is slightly raised from the rest of the cube. It does move about a little bit, but it also does work, and I have pulled these ones apart. I do have a red and black one of these, which was my everyday carry until the spin wheel itself fell off it, but it was an early one of the $4 cubes. But this one, it is on a bearing. It's not on the double bearing like the high quality one, but it is on a single bearing, and it does move around almost as easily as the high quality one. The little knob attachment on it isn't great. It's quite small, so you can't really get too much of a grip on it. But it's okay, you know, like I said, for $4 it works, who cares. Finally, midget fidget. Go to our spin wheel. There it is. It's nicely set. It's all flush. No blemishes on the wheel itself. It's got a nice tall sticky out bit on it, and again, it's on a bearing. It spins very well. It's nice and smooth. You can do it with one finger or your thumb, and it spins around. It's good. So really, it's down to preference. All of them spin well. I'd say that the very cheap one doesn't spin as well as the others, and obviously it's not flush with the rest of the cube like the others, but it does work. Really, you've got to ask yourself, do you want a spin wheel that clicks and's got tactile feedback, or do you want a silent one that you can use stealthily and spin round? And this one really spins round. You know, you can flick it and it actually starts spinning. You know, do you want that feature? So, you know, those two are tied. The midget fidget is also very good on the spin wheel, and the $4 cube. It works. It's not great, but it's okay. So, you know, it's down to preference. Next up is our 5 tactile buttons. Again, let's start with the Antsy Cube. They released this information early on, and that was that 2 of the buttons were going to remain silent, which is those 2 there. They've got a nice spring underneath them. If you click them down and flick them back up, you can feel the spring really pushing it back up to where they should be. They're made of probably ABS plastic or something, some kind of plastic, you know, hard plastic. It doesn't matter. I like you know, rubberized buttons, but these ones don't feel bad at all. They're nice and smooth, so you really don't notice the difference. Again, you can see how smooth and blemish free the vinyl cube is around it. What they released information on later on is the fact that the 2 outside clicky buttons would remain the same and need, you know, a little bit of force to push them down, but they've changed the middle one so it pushes down much easier and makes a slightly different clicking noise. So that's the outside, that's the inside. You can hear it's slightly different noise and requires different amounts of pressure. So that's the official one. The high quality, this uses rubberized buttons. This is a 2nd generation cube. The 1st generation, the rubber buttons were slightly too big, and so would catch the outside of the cube itself when you pushed them down, and was a bit of a problem. But they fixed that very quickly. Again, you got 2 silent buttons on the corners, and they're a little quieter, but you've got your tactile buttons along the diagonal. All of these require the same amount of pressure, give you the same audible feedback and the same tactile feedback, but as I've shown before, that you can mod those and make them how you want. The low quality cube, like I said earlier, all 5 buttons click, and they're all the same tactile feedback. Again, it's taste. If you want all your buttons clicking noisy, then that's definitely one to go for. The midget fidget, Again, 2 silent buttons, spring loaded in the corners. Now these guys caught on, and so sorry, my light's gone there. The corners make quite a nice tactile click, and the middle one has been set up differently so it's easier to press also. So let's put that back. Finally, the toggle switch on the Antsy Cube. Excuse me. It's very easy to move back and forth. It doesn't use any magnets to latch the switch. It's purely mechanical, and it makes a nice satisfying click as you move it. Now the cool thing is, because it's really loud when you click it like that, but if you rock it with your finger, it's completely silent. So that's very cool on the official cube. On the unofficial one, it uses magnets to latch each side. It's slightly harder to move each way, but again, it gives you a nice satisfying click. But it does latch by quite strong magnets on each side. So that's the high quality unofficial. The low quality one doesn't have any magnets in. It's mechanical, but it's quite hard to press. But if you're using it with your thumb, it's not actually too bad, and it does give you a nice clunky click back, which is quite satisfying if you're moving it about. So yeah, that's that one. Finally, the midget fidget. The button is much smaller. We'll put it next to one of the bigger ones. You can see how small that is compared to the other ones. Again, purely mechanical. It's got a nice curve to it for your finger or thumb to fit. It's fairly easy to move, and it makes a really satisfying clicky clunk as it latches each side, which is very cool. I really like that toggle switch a lot. I've been carrying one of these for a couple of weeks now, and I think that's probably my favourite feature, particularly when waiting in line at supermarkets and whatnot. Build quality, obviously the Antsy Lab, they've used extremely high quality vinyl. The finish is perfect. There's no blemishes on the vinyl, and all the features look great. They've all been nicely designed. It's our iconic fidget cube right there. The high quality cube, the finish slightly rubberized, but again very high quality all the way around. There's really not a lot in it. If you want a harder one, the official one's better. If you want a nice softer one to the touch, then the unofficial one. The 3rd generation one of these, which is out now, including the new blood splatter camo cube, are less rubberized. They're much harder edges, whilst keeping a soft touch on the edge as well. And they're good. They're okay. I like these cubes. They've got a really nice finish to them. They're 4-butt cube. It's got some issues with how it's finished. It's not great. It's ABS plastic and not vinyl. The features aren't particularly well finished. Like I said, the joysticks at an angle. It's not terrible. If you're keeping it in your pocket all day long, it doesn't matter. It works as it is, and who cares. Finally, the midget fidget is a different one from the batch, as you can see. It's got a slightly different design depending which side you look at it from. It's got some more angular edges, whereas some of the edges are more curved, like you see on the front there. The top ones are more curved, the bottom ones are more angular, but do have a curve as they go around. The finish is perfect, there's no blemishes, and so, you know, it looks great, all the features look great, and it comes with your lanyard. I don't think the lanyard hole makes any difference to the design, and is quite cool, but you can add the lanyard. If you don't want to add the lanyard, you actually don't really notice the cube not having the hole in there anyway. So finally, one thing I wanted to do is side by side the official Kickstarter cube with you know, the fakes that are out there. As you can see, there's a fair bit of colour difference. The Kickstarter cube I have checked, and it is near perfect to the Kickstarter colour, whereas all the copies, and although this is the low quality one, all the other ones, you know, the high quality ones, and the really crappy ones, all have the same green colour. They all use this green, and it doesn't match the Kickstarter one. And as you see, side by side, the official one is a much nicer green in my opinion, and matches the Kickstarter colours. So that's my side by side. Overall, these 4 cubes, depending on what you want, they're all pretty good. As I've said in my rundown of my favourite cubes, the Antsy one is probably the best for features and overall quality. It's very good. The high quality Fake is good if you prefer slightly quieter features. The 4-buck cube is what it is. If it's in your pocket all day long, it's the perfect cube. It's made with ABS. It will take lots of damage, and it works. So, you know, who cares really? And then the Midget Fidget, which I really love. I think the Midget Fidget's great. And the features on it all work perfectly. I love the clunky switch on the top. All the other dials and whatnot spin smoothly and quietly, and you can get it in a whole range of insanely bright colours, but beware, the prices are going up very quickly on the Midget Fidget, so now's the time to buy before they go up too much further. And I think the same is to be said about all the cubes. The price is going to start equalising now, especially once the official Antsy cube hits the market, for whatever the retail price is going to be. The official retail price is $25 plus shipping, but I don't think Antsy are going to get away with selling it for that kind of money. So you know, I think we'll see a price equalisation at some point, where it was so that all the cubes are round about the same price. You know, whatever cube, with the exception of the very cheap ones, which are great. You know, for the very cheap ones, I say buy a ton of them, put them in a box, and just stick them in your pocket. As they break, throw them away and use a new one. I would have said that about the Midget Fidgets, but now the prices are going up. I'm actually starting to take more care of my Midget Fidgets. I've already lost one, given one away, and broken another one. I've got 4 or 5 left in different colours, but I don't want to be paying £8 UK for these, so I won't be buying any more unless I see them cheap. So I'm going to start looking after mine a little bit better. So there you go, folks. That's the rundown of all the features on the 4 cubes. I have been as fast as I possibly can. I apologise that, again, it's a slightly longer video than I'd expected, but I hope it does document all the cubes correctly. I'm not going to rate them in this video. I've rated the features. Rundown, toggle switch. I think both the Antsy Labs for the ease of toggling and the Midget Fidget for the nice, really clicky noise that it makes is a tie for first place. The front dials and the ball bearing on the roll side, again, I think the official cube is probably the better one. It's got a nicer ball bearing, and it's got the slightly clicky dials as you move it. The joystick, we always knew the Antsy Cube was going to win with the flat travel joystick. After that, the next best joystick is the high quality unofficial one, which moves around much further and is really nice to use. Worrystone, I'm not even going to bother rating. Spin dial, again, it depends on what you're after. If you're after a tactile spinning wheel, then the Antsy Cube is the one to go for. If you want a silent one, then both a high quality vinyl fake or the Midget Fidget, both offer very good spin dials. The very cheap cube doesn't offer such a great spin dial, although it does work. It doesn't sit flush and it's not quite as well finished. The dice buttons on the official cube, they're hard plastic. On the high quality unofficial one, they're rubber. Which ones do I prefer? I actually quite like both equally. It just depends on my feeling on the day. On the cheap cube, the 5 buttons all make a clicking noise, as opposed to the Midget Fidget and the official cube, which make 2 different clicking noises plus 2 silent buttons, and the high quality fidget, which uses 3 matching buttons and 2 silent buttons, and the low quality, like I say, uses all 5 buttons are the same tactile and noise feedback that you get from them. Build quality, the Antsy Cube is extremely high quality build. The high quality fake is also a very high quality build. The Midget Fidget, again, it's a very, very high quality build, but these ones not so much. There's a lot of blemishes and a lot of issues. And I believe that's it. So yeah, there you go. That's my rundown of the features on the fidget cubes. I hope that's clarified some things and shown you the different cubes for comparison. And again, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I apologise it's run on a little bit. I will be doing more videos at some point in the future, but for now, this is probably the last one. So, thanks guys, have a great day, and yeah, take care. Cheers.